What's up, everybody? Silly season's upon us, and we're here to sort it all out. Welcome to the Fantasy NBA Today podcast, a sports ethos presentation hosted by yours truly, Aaron Bruski, and FSWA Hall of Famer Steve, Dr. A. Alexander. Can't wait to catch up with you, Steve. Before we do that, let's say hello to the sponsor. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all the madness. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion with the largest selection of odds on everything from college basketball to a $200,000 bracket contest, which I bet you can't get into anymore. BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every Cinderella story to hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. Doc, I missed you, man. How are you?
You know, I miss you too. Speaking of, I bet you can't get into that bracket game anymore. So I'm running my league instead of by hand this year. I'm doing it on ESPN.
Oh, and hey.
I filled out 3 brackets in 3 different places. One in my hometown, one here, and one there. Well, come to find out, I can still add my other brackets to my hometown league if I want to. So these people have been following along with all the standings, and I can suddenly pop another bracket in there, and it's legit because I filled it out before the tournament started. Like it's legit, but it wasn't part of the group. And another guy didn't do it right and had 5 brackets, but he only got one of them in there. He's like, it's going to let me add these other 4. Can I do it now that it's already started? And I was like, yeah, I guess. I mean, we'll take your $40. But
Quick
now
the bracket, sure.
I've got like 130 people in brackets, and it's going to be so hard to figure out like who's coming in late. And it's a nightmare.
I haven't watched a single college basketball game or I watched 5 minutes of Cooper Flag, and that's it this season. And I have not watched a single game, and it's kind of sad. I miss it. I'm being a kid, and I mean, like the world stopped for this tournament, and I guess things are just different now. Just as a different world
I didn't
we live
even
in.
really watch it. I didn't really watch it yesterday.
Maybe I'll start to try this weekend because I think the when you get buzzer beaters going from the underdog teams, the small schools and all that, that is truly one of the best moments in sports. So I will make an attempt to get into that this weekend because that is actually great stuff. As for the weekend itself here, we have a lot to go through, and probably why I'm not looking at any of this stuff is this time of year it's funny because, you're getting to the end of the finish line and you might be like, okay, all right, we're going to let up a little bit here. But the silly season makes things 500 times tougher for a fantasy analyst because you're basically covering all 500 players in the league. And you get these teams where you're at the bottom of their rosters, and those folks are the ones who are playing. And you really got to suss out a lot of different details. So we're going to do all of that. Before we get into that, if you're watching us here on YouTube right now, drop us a thumbs up on this video. That would help us out a ton. If you're watching on Twitter, please give us a follow at Ethos Fantasy NBA. And if you're listening on the pod feed, shoot us a 5-star review. We would love it. Thank you so much. Okay. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday games is what we're looking at here today. We get a little bit of a break with the kind of machine gun rapid fire games that have been happening throughout every day of every week. Over the last 3 or 4 weeks. So we got 10 on Friday, 5 on Saturday. There's your off day. Sunday, 8 games. So it's right back into the hopper there. We're going to take a big look here at Washington. They play a Friday, Saturday back-to-back. They also are a really, really interesting fantasy squad that's pissing me off, but like at the highest of levels. They sat Justin Champagnie, and I know that got a lot of us in fantasy leagues. It was out of nowhere. It was, the tank fest against Utah. This is, this really can shake your belief in a player when it just happens out of nowhere. They played basically their G League squad in that game. And here they are this week or this weekend with a Friday, Saturday back-to-back, profiling as one of the better teams that you can stream with here this weekend. Doc, I mean, quickly, Keyshawn George off the injury report Chris Middleton off the injury report. Marcus Smart is out. Bilal's been out for a while. Corey Kispert's basically gone for the season. What are you doing with this squad, if anything? Are you getting aggressive, trying to stream them in for this weekend?
No. I mean,
No?
I think it's a good plan. I just don't have many places I can actually do it. The Justin Champagny benching was weird against the Jazz. The Jordan Poole game against the Jazz, when he hit 1 of 11 shots.
He played like 10 minutes. He got those 11 shots up or something.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
Some dude named Colby Jones went crazy.
Hey, I know Colby Jones.
24. So what do? I mean, Keyshawn should be safe if he's off the injury report and gonna play. I think he'll start. Vukcevic. Tristan Vukcevic had 17 points, 5 boards, and 2 blocks. And if you look at his game log, he's been balling lately. I think he's gonna start. I think he's a strong pickup right now. I think he's probably the strongest one, the one I trust the most. AJ Johnson started that game on Wednesday. He had 12.6 assists. He's sort of worth a look. There's just, do you trust Justin Champagny today? I don't know, man. I kind of need to see the starting lineup before this game starts, but I think it's going to be Vooch, Sar, Poole, Keyshawn. Who's the other one?
Vooch?
AJ Johnson.
AJ Johnson.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many options here. They're all probably decent.
I bet Bub Carrington's rostered in like every league. He's been hyped up all season, and the pure fantasy value is not there now. Over 10 games, 10 points, 1.5 triples, 4 boards, 5 plus assists, 1.1 combined defensive stats, 36% shooting. Not a lot of volume. Like, everybody else is getting the ball, and not a lot of pop out of him. I mean, with the numbers he's had, probably should have been dropped in a lot of places, but I don't think
he was. I think he was.
I mean, in my 200 player leagues, he hasn't hit the ground once. Maybe I'm a reason for that, but you would think that this would be the stretch where Carrington, Keyshawn, Tristan, and Justin get to eat, but that really threw a wrinkle into things. And Justin just got a 4-year deal. That's the other part of this that's super weird. And then, and because he's a part of their future, you have to wonder, unless there's just some injury that they're just like, we're not even going to report it. Holding him out for 2 straight games would be quite a move. It would be quite an FU, I think, to the Champagny camp. And I don't think he has any juice there or anything, and it can kind of, make his upsettedness known and have that matter. But it would be quite the FU from Washington to not play him twice here. So I kind of think you can get a little aggressive here, but I also think at this stage of the game in your fantasy playoffs, that's not good enough. I think you're going to have to really, really watch out for updates at Ethos Fantasy NBA, and maybe just have him at the top of your list for a quick ad if you get good news about the starting lineup. Rashawn Holmes didn't play in that last game. That's also a little worrisome, I think, from the Tristan Vukcevic perspective. Vukcevic, I mean, we've talked about him on the show for like 8 weeks now, it feels like. Finally getting some good run and some good production here. So maybe too little, too late. I do agree. I think down the stretch, this is a great target, probably number 2 target behind Keyshawn George, who's obviously already rostered in most leagues, if not all leagues. But Tristan here is, if Rashawn gets back into the game, because they're like, we didn't play Rashawn last game, he's got to play this game. That could be a problem for Tristan. So watch that.
I just don't know why they would do that. I don't know why we're messing with Jordan Poole, and I just don't get it. Back to Bub Carrington real quick, right? He started that last game. And everybody's like, oh, good. Here we go with Bub. He had 6 points, 4 assists, 23 minutes. Like, it's just garbage. The game before that, he had 8 assists, but he hit 1 of 7 shots and scored 3 points. Game before that, he had 9. Then he had a 16 and 15, but he only had 3 assists in each of those games. And then he had 5 and 8 points in the other 2. Like, there's just nothing happening with Bub. And if it hasn't happened by now, I feel like it's not really gonna happen. And I feel like his chance was last game, and he really didn't do anything with that.
It's hard though. I mean, they played their G League roster last game, and it was a classic. I think I tweeted something about it. It's like this is like the best tanking I've seen, even in the context of normal tanking. Like, you had the game against Utah, and these guys are fighting for the number 1 seed, so to speak. Even though the odds are flat for the top 3 tanking finishers, being ahead of the next team it's got that kind of value. You still want to tank, but they bring in a bunch of vets at the deadline and then play the vets under the pretense that this is going to be good for their the DNA of their squad. And then they turn around and they're like, oh, we'll play the G League. And it just none of it lines up. It feels like one day they're serving the whims of probably the owner there, or upper management, and then the next day they're trying to win it on the ground for the players, and it's just weird. It doesn't make sense, and I don't think it's helping anybody there. But that is what it is, and we move on. Boston, Philly, Cleveland, Detroit, San Antonio, Houston, OKC. There are a ton of teams here. I'll just keep going. Like, I mean, just so you can kind of get a sense of this is the size of the universe that we're about to talk about right now. Clippers, Heat, Portland, Denver, Charlotte, New Orleans, Utah play a Friday, Sunday, 2 games in 3 days here. So we're not going to go through each team, but we have taken the time to think this through and figure out who do we like best as potential streamer options from each of these teams. And Doc, I will ping the ball to you, sir. Pickleball style I think it's just a small tennis court, right?
Is that a dink? Is it a dink or a ping?
I'm dinking the ball over to you here. Who do you like? Friday, Sunday, dink.
I've yet to dip my toes into the pickleball water yet. By the way,
is it just like small? Is it just tiny tennis? Is that what it is?
It's like ping pong and tennis and probably badminton. I don't know. It's just old people tennis is what it is.
You don't got to run as far back and forth. I like that.
Correct. All right. So I just made a big list of players, and I'm just gonna rattle them off.
Oh boy. All right.
And then we can discuss.
And we're gonna sort it all through. Okay. All right.
Boston, you got Sam Hauser. Washington, you have Philly, you've got Jared Butler, who I think is a must-own player. Set. Cleveland, you've got Ty Jerome. San Antonio, you've got Jeremy Sohan. Houston, you've got Tari Eason, with the caveat that it sounds like Amen may be coming back this evening. And you have Dylan Brooks. Oklahoma City, I almost said Seattle. You have Casey Wallace and Aaron Wiggins. New Orleans, Miami, you have Jaime Jaquez. There's no Nikola Jokic again on Friday, so Peyton Watson comes into play. Aaron Gordon, Russell Westbrook, if Jamal Murray is out, or whether even if he isn't out, I think Westbrook is good. Charlotte, you've got Andre telling me that Miles Bridges and LaMelo Ball and Mark Williams might not play this evening. If that's not the case, there's a bunch of dudes, but Daquan Jeffries, whether those guys play or not, has been getting run for Charlotte, so I like him. New Orleans, you got Jose Alvarado and Jordan Hawkins. Utah, you've got Kyle Filipowski and a dude named Cody Williams. That's my list. That is my list. And then the other, if those dudes all sit out for the Hornets, I have a couple other names for you.
That's Cody Williams of San Luis Obispo, by the way.
San Luis Obispo. Yeah. If Miles Bridges is out, Wendell Moore is a name that you should think about looking at. And if Mark Williams is out, Diabate comes into play. If LaMelo is out, Damian Baugh, Seth Curry, and Nick Smith all come into play. So very interesting. The only one I really trust as of right now, though, is Daquan Jeffries.
Yeah, or Damian, or Baugh.
No one trusts Damian Baugh except for me, dude.
Hey, you know what? And at least he's been interested. That Charlotte, I can't go near the Charlotte squad. It's funny though. Nick Smith has actually been pretty good lately. He's got a week of like not being terrible. And I mean, not to pick on Nick Smith. It's hard to play. You know, when these teams get really bad, you'd think there's like a ton of opportunity. Sometimes there is, but when they get really bad, it's just hard for everybody involved to get anything done out there. And that's the Charlotte Hornets in a nutshell. Interesting in Philly, Jeff Doughton Jr. was higher on my list, but then he just got a trip down to the G League, and that really blew his value. Adem Bona, the ankle injury was real. People saw it on, in the game itself, so it wasn't just one of those magical tanky things, but that Philly squad, I think what I'm looking for there is those two particular players. If they're out, then everybody else down roster starts to get a chance, and it's really a grab bag. I mean, you could almost make a case for almost like not all of them and any of them, but your Justin Edwards just had a good game the other night. I mean, Quentin Grimes is just taking the ball and just sucking the stats out of the box score and putting them right next to his name. And it's been fun to watch. I mean, he's doing that on a bad team, and getting all of the defensive attention. And you're on mute, so I'm sure you have a wonderful point there.
Another Nico Harrison.
Special.
Way to go, Nico. Great trade.
You know what's fun about Quentin is, watching him with the Knicks even way back when, you're like, could he be good? And then they wouldn't play him, and then he would kind of be inconsistent. You're like, okay, I guess, maybe he's just an athlete and not a basketball player. And now you're watching him and you're kind of like, damn, he might be really, really good. And it's just something to footnote for next year's fantasy drafts, because I think people might look at this and think it's like silly season stuff, and it really isn't. He's been consistently good all year long. I don't think this is going to happen for him, but like Alex Reese at some point has to almost be good in a 1-game sample. Yabusele hasn't been doing anything lately, and he's definitely a guy that they might want to bench. Chuma Okeke has been decent lately, almost inside the top 100. The Jared Butler stuff, like the minute I kind of got on that wagon, he had a bad game. So I'm like a little bit gun shy there. But I think at this time of year, you do need to lean into. So if the aforementioned players are out, I do think you need to just kind of check out down roster and maybe just take a shot with your eyes closed. Elsewhere in that grouping of teams, I think this isn't the time for the OKC guys, like the Aaron Wiggins and the Isaiah Joes. Cason Wallace has more or less survived this stuff, and Wiggins might actually be good. Isaiah Joes really needs to get a lot of help from above to be good, but they're playing, as far as I can see, the Charlotte guys, and then they go to the Clippers on NBA TV, and I figure that's a high-profile game, and they might be putting out Shea just for MVP purposes in that game, and that might be bad news for the aforementioned there, because if Shea's in, that sucks up a ton of stats in that box score.
Well, the thing is, Lou Dort is out tonight.
Yeah, that helps.
And Jalen Williams is out, so I think there's still plenty of room for those guys to eat. Oklahoma City, as far as I know, is favored by 19.5 against Charlotte tonight.
It's a pretty big bet, probably.
So are they going to run SGA out there the whole game? Is this thing going to be over, at halftime? I don't really know.
In our betting section, I wouldn't touch that one. I just can't handle that kind of 20 points in practically April. But I would probably take OKC. They could end that thing in the first quarter.
But I think my point is with no Dort and no Williams and a blowout potential, I still think Isaiah Joe, and whoever else we're talking, Wiggins and Wallace all look like decent plays tonight. It could be a home run. It could not be, but I think the chances are they do stuff.
Zion Williamson's out for this game here tonight in Minnesota, and we'll have some commentary, I think, in the betting section on that one. You got the brutal, talk about brutal for anybody in a weekly kind of a format. When Trey Murphy goes out after 1 minute the other night, that is a brutal set of zeros for some folks out there. So he's gone for the season, and no Zion. So Kelly Olynyk, top 140 over the last 9 games, 11.5 points, almost a triple, 5.3 boards, 3.7 assists, 1.5 combined defensive stats. And then Yves Missy's been good the last 2 games, goodish, 12.5 points, 8.5 boards, 2.5 blocks, 24 minutes per game. No Zion.
You mean Eve?
I made the S. I pluralized his name. There's multiples. These 2 of them running around the court, accumulating stats. They both played 12 minutes a game. I'm not learning over here. I'm not learning. What else we got in that group? I think, the Cavs guys might be interesting. You mentioned Ty Jerome, but Max Strus, DeAndre Hunter, and that trio right there. And then Dennis Schroeder for Detroit. It's been kind of quietly good. Top 150 over the last 11 games, getting you an 11.5 points, 1.5 triples, 2.5 boards, 5 assists in 20 minutes game over the last 11 games. And those assists are hard to find these days. All right. Atlanta actually plays a Saturday, Sunday back-to-back. Do you like anybody in Atlanta, Doc? No?
Do I like people in Atlanta?
Do you like anybody in Atlanta? Do you like to drive to Atlanta? Did REM come and play in a very quaint setting and make moves?
I hate driving in Atlanta. It's my least favorite thing, probably in my life, outside of my illness.
Does it compare to? Have you ever been to LA? Does it compare to LA traffic?
Oh, it does. It does. If there's a top 10 worst traffic list, and Atlanta is not on it, it is bogus. I mean, Washington, Chicago, LA, Atlanta, they're all hideous. And Atlanta's bad. The thing about Atlanta is everybody's driving through it to get to Florida. And it doesn't matter if it's Sunday night.
Go in there.
If it's Sunday night at midnight or it's Friday afternoon at 3:00, it's kind of the same. It just sucks. Atlanta. Zach Risachet went off in the last game. He's unreliable, but Karis LeVert, is Karis LeVert still out and banged up? I don't even know.
He's questionable for this one, but he's been really good lately.
But Zach is balling, and I like Zach Risachet. I like Terrence Mann a little bit, but Risachet, I think, is the guy I trust the most.
Yeah, it got tough with Vit Krejci coming back, and you had Terrence Mann come over, and you got Karis LeVert in this mix all of a sudden. Garrison Matthews was playing a little bit there for a bit. Georges Niang was almost like the guy for a second for a couple weeks there. So you have a lot of middling players that are vying for the attention of fantasy GMs. Karis LeVert's been really good, cleaning up some of the mess from some of the injuries, but questionable. So I would think he's probably rostered in a lot of formats. So I don't know that you'll be able to get him, but that will definitely sway how things go in the rotation there. Mo Gay, a top 125 over the last 9 games. You're getting a weird kind of like you don't expect this defensive 2.8 combined steals and blocks guy to also be a low field goal percentage and 3-point shooting sort of a player with 1 triple a game in that span. He doesn't get you much else. 6.5 points, 3.5 rebounds. Good for top 125 value in a 9-cat format. Georges Niang. So I've been pluralizing Georges this entire time. and probably butchering the last name as well.
Hey, Brent,
and then
if anybody plays on ESPN and has an interest in Vucevic, the Washington power forward, he now qualifies at center at ESPN.
Wait. Did you make that happen?
I was talking to you and making that happen at the same time. Yes.
You made that happen? Oh my God, you're the key master.
Just now.
All bow
Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone.
You just told the world. That is amazing.
No, I discovered that he was now center eligible.
Oh, you discover. Okay. All right. I read you. I got you right here. I also discovered that Onyeka Okongwu is a top 6 player this season. You know what? I don't get names right, but I can segue with the best of them. It's really simple. You just say whatever was just said, and then you say, it's like, speaking of which, it doesn't even need to matter. Okay. We have our top waiver wire ads for you guys right now. And before we get into that, our MLB draft guide is out. You need to check that out. Rick Kamla, the great Rick Kamla, has got his proprietary, if I could speak, drafting strategy involving, I think he drafts like all hitters first or something like that. You got to go read it. Rick is just this guy that wins fantasy leagues. That's my take on Rick. He's been playing his whole life and he just wins fantasy leagues and he's great at baseball. He's in our draft guide. The draft tracker within the draft guide is worth the price of the draft guide itself. You can get a 25% discount with the code MLB 2025.
Hey now.
And if you want to get all the sports, because we got football and basketball right around the corner, believe it or not, you could use the code ALLSPORT25 for 25%. Both those codes get you 25% off for 6 months. And you can get the draft tracker, which basically just like, it makes things so easy and good that you can just get in there and do things in drafts you've never done before. We've been using it in basketball for a couple of years now, and it's just like an unfair advantage. I love it to death. And then check out the app. We just added even more stuff to the app. It's free. Go to your favorite app store, whether that's Apple or Google, and just type in Sports Ethos, download, and you're all good. Okay, waiver wire ads. There are a bunch of teams we haven't talked about. What I noticed is the streaming options might have actually been a better grouping of top waiver wire ads. So we might have some crossover here. But Doc, you got any waiver wire ads that rose to the top of your list?
Well, first of all, Steph Curry was just ruined. Yeah, Steph Curry was just ruined out for Saturday with his pelvic contusion. This could be a week. This could be the regular season. We don't really know.
Well, he had that. It was a bad luck deal 2 years ago when he was in Houston, and like he runs. It was a play near the sideline, and I know this because I had him featured in a very important team of mine, and it was like, man, I really think the basketball gods hate me right now. It was like a freak injury where he ran past like the crowd kind of parted ways and he scooted past the crowd. And then there was like the steps up that people go up to get to the mid-level. And he tripped over a couple of things that you're like, how is that at an NBA arena? And then landed square on the corner of one of those steps right into his low back. And they were, and I bring this up, not just to, talk about an old injury, but the beat guys were talking about that. You wonder if there's some connectivity between the two injuries that might make this one a little bit worse. Sorry, I stole your thunder there, Doctor.
No, you didn't steal anything, brother. I'm doing some late minute math. Well, how many games does Philly play next? Philly play 4. Okay, here's some guys that are waiver ads in my opinion. As I said, Jared Butler, Philadelphia. Tyrese Maxey, I don't think we're seeing him again this year. Jared Butler has been balling, and 4 games are at a premium next week. Most teams have 3 games, or I would say a majority have 3. I think all my players in my 30 deep lineup only have 3 games next week if I get to play next week.
Shout out, since you said 30 deep, shout out to you and Rick. You guys are in the semifinals. You guys are battling, I believe it's 4-4-1 going into the weekend here. Matt Smith and Mike Passador. These 2 guys are in the playoffs every single year, Matt and Mike. Mike has won this thing twice out of 6 years, I believe is the math there. This battle is going down 4-5, basically. Passador's leading right now.
And
Matt's been screwed by Tyrese
Halliburton, man.
He screwed me too, Matt. He screwed me too.
He screwed a lot of people.
And you know what? Matt's also getting screwed by that last Austin Reeves absence. And, you know, it's screw you, Matt, for taking Austin Reeves in 30 deep. I thought I would be able to take Austin Reeves in 30 deep. So screw you, Matt.
Okay.
But that's bad. Anyway, go on.
So 4 games I think are important if your team is going to make it to the playoffs again next week. So Jared Butler plays 4. Najee Marshall of Dallas plays 4. Najee Marshall's balling. There's no one to play in Dallas. And while we're talking about Najee Marshall, I'm going to add deep league. I've got a Jaden Hardy feeling that he's going to go off down the stretch if he can stay healthy and if he plays. I feel like Jaden Hardy is kind of fun right now. Brandon Podziemski plays 4 games, and there's no Steph Curry. Poge is getting tons and tons of minutes. So make sure Poge is not available in your league. Zaire Williams, I like to think of him as the silent assassin. Like, nobody thinks about Zaire Williams, but he's been really, really good. He plays 4 games. Daquan Jeffries does not play 4 games, but I like his role in Charlotte, especially Friday if Charlotte's gonna sit their studs, which we don't know if they're gonna do that or not. There's just been some chatter about it.
That is quite the list there, Doc. You're hooked on a feeling. Well, I got Brandon Williams on my list because I think people have kind of written him off, forgotten him. You know, just like he's played 6 out of the last 12 games or something. He's been very good when he's been on the floor. So just quickly check and see if he's available. And if he is playing, he's probable for this one. Kai Jones, I had to like kind of double take the other day. It was what's up with Kai Jones? You know, like he's averaging 20 and 10.
Are you talking about Kai?
Yeah. What did I say?
I thought you said Ty, maybe. Kai.
Oh, no.
No,
I don't think it.
I just heard Ty.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't believe anything. Kai Jones, 20 and 10 with 90% shooting over the last 2 games, 29 minutes per game. I know. This is spicy. And yes, you do.
Anybody who's playing for Dallas is worth getting in your lineup. Problem is, and they should be available because they only had 2 games this week, so nobody wanted to deal with them.
I've kind of okay. So Kessler Edwards was somebody when he was playing for SAC. I was trying to tell everybody, hey, this guy's pretty good. He hasn't been able to really get the offensive side of the ball down, and I think he's out of time in Dallas. I've been passing on him for other higher level players over the last few weeks, so it'd be worth checking into just confirming that he's either out of time in Dallas due to contracts or not. And that's kind of the situation with Kai Jones as well. Dallas, he will basically expire for them on April 10. And if they want to keep him, which is right next, I think that's the second to last day of the season. So he can make it the rest of the way. Now, do they want to do it? There's a gap of about 2 weeks between his games. The last 2 games he's played, he had 18 and 11 in 24 minutes yesterday, or probably Wednesday in Indy. So the 2 games spaced apart, really, really good. And then if they want to keep him long term, it does benefit them to sign him for the last 2 games or 2 days or whatever. Just sign him for the rest of the season at some point in time here. Now, Jones is had, some struggles, whatever. I don't read into that stuff too much. And he's, really talented physical player. One would think Dallas would want to keep that in the fold and do so in a way that's complementary to their cap efforts. At any rate, 20 and 10 on 90% shooting. Will he play? If I kind of think this is a situation where you just make the spec ad and you just hope for the best and roll the dice. This is what silly season heroes are made of, is Kai Jones. And and
Jaden Hardy.
And Jaden Hardy, because Doc's got a feeling. He's hooked on it. Aaron Gordon, I don't know if he's probably not available in a lot of situations, but he's been struggling all season, and I don't think there was a lot of traction for him in fantasy leagues. And he's been putting up big poppy numbers, so I don't think he's available. But if he is, you've got Jokic and Jamal Murray kind of missing games. Jokic is going to miss this next one here. 29 minutes per game, 22.6 points, 3.8 triples, and 5.8 boards over his last 5. Aaron Gordon. And Kevin Huerter, he had his revenge game last night against the Kings. Totally expected. Top 60 over the last 9 games. He had been struggling until like the last 3 or so to get some consistency. And now it's really, really turned over for him. 32 minutes per game. So he's on the floor, 15 points, 3 triples, 4 boards, 3 assists, 2.2 combined defensive stats. That's the thing with Huerter that folks will never really probably guess, is there are times where he actually gets you defensive stats as well. Just almost in a lucky way. Cason Wallace, top 75 over the last 9 games. He just keeps surviving whatever's going on around him, and he's doing it with more scoring than normal. These scoring numbers aren't jumping off the page, but there's been stretches he's had like 15 or more points over the last 9, 11 and 11.7 points, 1.4 triples, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and then 2.4 combined defensive stats with good percentages. It's just great stuff. Scottie Pippen Jr., top 85 over the last 11 games, just in 24 minutes per game, 10 points, over a triple, 3.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 2 steals is the big draw, and 0.5 blocks. Vucevic, I think, is real high on this list. And then you mentioned Golden State with Steph being out. Quentin Post is a source of offense. He had 18 points and 6 triples last night against Toronto to go with a steal and a block, and he does all of his work in about 20 minutes per game. This game is probably the outlier, but he's been consistently good, getting you a couple threes, couple defensive stats, some decent scoring, not terrible rebounding. And I think he's actually improving, and I think they're relying on him more and more and realizing that as a shooting center that they can do a lot of different things with Steph and Dre. And pardon me, I'd go with Dre and Jimmy, who don't like to shoot from deep so much. Quentin Post is a great fit for that squad right now. And finally, Santi Aldama, as I dominate the mic here. Santi Aldama, I think folks might be forgetting him, probably dropped as that calf injury got pretty bad. And he missed about a couple weeks there, and it hasn't been great for him for a couple weeks now, probably even over a month. He might be getting healthy at the right time, folks. And he's been a top 75 guy for a lot of time this season. So lots of potential value there. Doc, anything you want to weigh in on before I spin us into what we're watching for this weekend?
No, I do like the way that you talked about a bunch of Dallas guys. I talked about a few Dallas guys. The bottom line right now is they only play the one game. It's tonight, and then they're off for the weekend. So they're not ideal. Like, you don't want to use the last pickup of the week to pick up a guy that only plays one game. You want somebody who plays 2. But I think going forward for the rest of the season, you can pick a Maverick, any Maverick, and they're going to produce something down the stretch because they just don't have bodies.
And this time of season, I mean, you got to really take names and scratch them off the backs of the jerseys. You got to take analysis and really look into your personal situation, your schedule. What are your format settings? When's your playoffs? If your playoff is this week, if this is your last week and you're in the championship week and you need to drop player, first round draft pick X, and you got to pick up, one of these guys, you need to really seriously think about that. And that's the way this game is played. If you're playing head to head, you need to know that going into every season. Your head to head playoffs is going to be rife with this stuff. You need to have a good, strong roster going into the playoffs, and then you need to have the maneuverability to pick up the silly season heroes. And it's not ideal, but that's the way the game gets played in head to head. It's a little bit more of a luck-based game, but it's more fun for a lot of players, and therefore that's why a lot of folks, including myself, play that. Roto, though, you're looking more long-term. You still got a couple weeks here to accumulate decent value, about 10 games, 9 games, something like that, for most teams in the league. So you can squeeze a ton of value out of a player that might only have 1 game this weekend or might not even be up and running this weekend. So that's that. Doc, what you watching for this weekend?
I there's a few guys I want to see what happens. I want to see Filipowski coexist with Walker Kessler in Utah. I really like Kyle Filipowski. I really want him to be great every night. It just hasn't. It's just been up and down. But I love Kyle Filipowski. Jaime Jaquez is suddenly becoming a thing again in Miami. I want to see if he can keep that going. I have real trust issues with Jaime. I think Spo does too. So that'll be interesting. Kobe Williams in Utah. The tank is here for Utah. The shutdown is upon us. And I think
Cody it feels Williams, like you're predicting the Cody Williams breakout.
I do kind of feel it. I got a feeling.
I needed to get that off my chest. It feels like that's happening.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling Cody Williams. And then you're right, Brandon. Is it Brandon Williams in Dallas?
Yep.
Brandon Williams and Jaden Hardy, both of them. I didn't realize Brandon Williams was questionable for tonight. If he plays, it hurts Jaden Hardy. But there's probably room for both of those guys to coexist in Dallas, and so I have like 7 guys. And don't forget, Anthony Davis is down there in the G League, ramping up, getting ready.
This situation, it's like, I'm glad we're at the end of the show. We can kind of let our hair down a little bit and talk about this just a little bit. So Dallas and Phoenix are tied. We will get into the odds and props here in a second here. They're tied for the 10 slot right now. You have the Kings who want to just lose their way out of this thing somehow. Shout out. Oh, hey, Kobe White's going for 30.5. Oh, what do? We don't know. We'll put Keon on the bench and just let it happen. Like, come on, Doug Christie, you're better than that. But you got at least Phoenix and Dallas for this one spot in the playoffs. Phoenix has bet their entire future on this squad, and I think the milk has gone bad there. They don't want to be there, I don't think. And then you got this plucky Dallas squad with a bunch of G Leaguers that I think they're going to play every game like it's the Super Bowl, and funny to use the football reference there, but like I think Dallas might give them a run for their money. And so what does that do to the G League Texas legends, Anthony Davis, Daniel Gafford, and Derek Lively? It's like those guys are just sitting back going, do we want to be a part of this thing? Nah. Well, nah. And really, like in the last week of the season, you could see all 3 of those dudes come back and Dallas start to form something of a formidable squad. Not anything that's good, but they might actually do this thing. But there's a lot of reporting as well out of Dallas that they don't want Anthony Davis out on the floor to get embarrassed, because everything's so embarrassing right now in Dallas that they just want to kind of wipe the slate.
They play him in the game and he goes down.
Yeah.
If he gets hurt again because they rushed him back again so that they could try to be the number 10 play-in. Oh, come on. That team is not going to beat anything. Even if Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, and Daniel Gafford all came back right now and played, the Suns are still going to overtake them. It's over. Just you effed up. You ruined the whole thing in Dallas, and now just live with it because it's over.
And meanwhile, Phoenix is going to basically fall on their face and try to not make it themselves. I do think if Dallas makes it, they should just try to throw AD and Gafford and Lively on the floor at the same time. All 30 whatever plus minutes they can do it just to get weird and say, hey, we tried something.
Kai Jones, Max Christie, and 3 big men. Just let it rip.
Let it happen. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you have no chance anyway, so just go weird with it. Okay, we're going to get into some odds and props here, but real quick, regarding head-to-head leagues. So we've been in the lab. We're trying to fix some things around here. I don't know if you guys have noticed at Sports Ethos. We're trying to fix certain things that are going on within the industry, certain things that, we want to make sure that this industry continues to grow and it doesn't kind of go the way that, like, say, Twitter's gone over the last couple of years. Head-to-head leagues, we have some really interesting fixes for some of the issues that are plaguing them, and we're going to be implementing them next season. So if you want to reach out and get priority to join those leagues, there's free and paid versions. Reach out to, let's go support@sportsethos.com, and we can route you to the right person. Or on Twitter, you can reach out to Andre, our producer, pardon me, ANDM Lemos, Lemos. Lemos. My God. I'm so sorry, Andre. yeah, reach out and get priority for those leagues because they're going to be fun. And we do believe that some of these changes will be something that you might want to consider adopting in your own home leagues. Okay, Doc, you got any props for us today?
It's a rough night.
It is a rough slate
to try to be betting on basketball. And
I think if you were to go on. Nah,
no, I'm having a bad week, dude. You go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So you don't have the momentum. So what you're going to want to do here is lean into that. Everybody bet whatever Doc says right here because he's bound to win.
Do the opposite.
But like player prop betting right now, I bet people are making a killing out there. I need to get into this. I've got all of the data. I've got all of the blood, sweat, and tears ready to get into that market. But I mean, I just imagine that you can really kill it this week. But
or you can really get killed if, say, you go all in on Zach LaVine in a big revenge game against the Sacramento Kings.
Did that happen for you, Doc?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Why didn't you call me? I could have told you that one.
Freaking Zach LaVine. Really?
The problem was also DeMar DeRozan's 25,000 point game. This is why the Kings are so ridiculous. Like, first of all, they both were gunning for their own thing at the same time and getting full support from Doug Christie in the process because of quote narrative. And then, that you had on the other side, you had the Kevin Huerter situation, and you also had Devin Carter. You know, the Kings front office really wants to show you how good Devin Carter is, like really good. And Kobe White just took him over and over and over and over and over again.
The good news is that Zach LaVine is also on Rick's 30 deep team. So had Zach LaVine done what I needed him to do in the gambling world, it would have hurt me in my quest to go back to back in 30 deep. All right. Detroit Pistons are good. You called it, Brew. Your coach, your team, all of it.
He's not going to win.
They're at Dallas. Dallas is done. I mean, but that's the thing, man. When you got these kids out there playing for nothing, and they're like, hey, man, let's try to beat this good team. So you never know what's going to happen. Detroit's favored by 9.5 at Dallas. I still like Detroit minus 9.5. And I don't know.
You're going to go there.
I don't know.
I hate this slate. I hate it.
It's bad. The one thing I do like, though, is Denver is at Portland, and you're giving Denver 1.5 points. Yes, they don't have Nikola Jokic. I get it. They may not have Jamal Murray, but it's still Denver. It's still Portland. You're giving Denver some points, 1.5 points. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by that one. And then Minnesota's minus 14.5 against the Pelicans. And I think I went in on all in on this the other day, and New Orleans won the game. I'm like, how did that happen? So Minnesota has got to have some payback in their blood and try to win this game. But 14.5 points is too much. I'm probably not touching it. And then OKC's 19.5 over Charlotte. If Charlotte benches all their studs and you can get it for around 19-20, I think I would still do it because OKC, that's what they do. They just blow people out. It's at OKC. Even the OKC second unit is better than 10 NBA teams. So I'm not telling you to go out and bet OKC minus 20, but I don't hate it.
Yeah, that I would otherwise be great with the Pelicans plus 15 if they hadn't won previously. And Minnesota's been humbled lately.
And Zion is out.
And Zion's out. I actually think that works great for the Pelican side of this bet. You're going to get a lot of guys that are going to get the full minutes, and Zion sort of can be really good, but it can also be very disruptive to the team flow. And then defensively, if he wants to run or not, That's another question there. Much more name value than court value. I only had one game, and I do agree your Nuggets pick is toward the top of this list. The injured star theory is great there. And Portland, while they are good, and I love Portland at home, I don't know what their record is at home, but just historically, that has been a good place to play for Portland. Denver needs to get on their horse and go. And injured star theory. I agree with everything you said there. The one that I will probably recommend here amongst this crap slate is Cavs minus 8.5. Now, I was looking at it last night. It was 7.5, and I felt pretty good about it then, I guess. And 8.5 is like, oh man, you just cost me another point here overnight. But I think Phoenix is ready to let go of the rope. Cleveland they're struggling right now. They're in need of a win, and really in need of a flex. And I'm happy if they don't cover. What I need is Cleveland to nosedive and Detroit to keep winning. And I need Indiana to stop winning without Tyrese Halliburton. And I need Milwaukee to just kind of slowly fade and Detroit to finish in like 4. If New York would lose 6 straight games or something, that would also help me, because then maybe Detroit would be in the 3. And then maybe voters would be like, hey, the team that won 14 games last season had a better coach of the year candidate than the all-star team in Cleveland with 9 players that are really, really good. Come on, everybody. All right. That's going to be it for us here today. Thank you, guys. Hey, I have a real ask for you guys.
I got a couple props.
Oh, you got props? Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were going to lead with those
props.
Yeah, no, by all means.
Good stuff. Paulo Banchero against the Washington Wizards. 7.5 rebounds is his over-under. I like the over on Paulo to get 8 boards against Washington. I mean, if he can't double-double against Washington, who's he going to double-double against? So I also like Paulo for a double-double and over 7.5 boards. Franz Wagner only has to hit 2 3-pointers against Washington to hit. That seems like easy money to me. Anthony Edwards has been on fire. Minnesota is playing New Orleans without Zion. His over-under is 27.5. I like Ant for the over there. Najee Marshall, 18.5. I like the over. Kristaps Porzingis for Boston only needs to get 7 rebounds to hit the over on its boards. I like that one. Couple more and then I'm done. Ty Jerome. Brew, how many assists do you think Ty Jerome has to get tonight to hit?
Over under? I bet it's at like 2.5.
2.5. 2.5.
That's no, he's due.
Come on, dude.
He's big time due.
And then
now they're gonna play everybody. They're gonna play everybody.
Yeah.
But he's big time due.
I don't know how he can't get 2.5 assists. And then Ivica Zubac. Double-double. He's been nice.
Yeah, all season.
That's it.
He has been nice.
That's all
before we go or drop the curtains, as Rick likes to say, I want to ask you guys feedback. I want to hear your fantasy questions. I want to hear how you guys are doing in your fantasy leagues. I'm noticing it is way too quiet out there in NBA fantasy land on Twitter. So send me your tweets at Aaron Bruski. Send them to Doc, DOCKTORA. We want to hear the chatter. We want to see you guys win your championships. And as we invest in this platform, we want to get your feedback so we can get exactly what you guys want into all of our different products, whether that's on the paid side, on the free side. And that way we can all enjoy this great industry together. That's going to do it for us here today at Fantasy NBA Today, presented by Bet Online. Thank you, Andre, for running a great show. Doc, it's great to see you. Thank you all for listening. This has been, as I said, Fantasy NBA Today, a Bet Online production. Be well, everybody.